Okay. Hey, Zinga Blake here, and we are at the Akoin is Equal event with our featured speakers. Really excited. Could you just give us a little introduction of yourselves and what you do and why you think it's important to be here?
Okay, so I'm Adele. I'm all the way from Australia, originally from South Africa. Thrilled to be here tonight and just, really talking about blockchain technology, the impact on the world, what the future looks like, and also the equality aspect of it. I'm really excited about that. So I currently work on two projects. One is called Coin, the other one is the Crypto Collectors. And for me, I'm very passionate about privacy. I think it's a big factor in the finance industry moving forward. And that's why I'm on a mission to try and bring a scalable, usable solution, not only to individuals, but also corporations. So that's my mission moving forward, and then to empower women. So I'm looking for more women to work for me.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Well, y'all who have resumes, look her up on LinkedIn. And you, sir?
Hello, my name is Kevin Barrow, and I'm the CEO of Mark Labs. At Mark Labs, we're really passionate about the blockchain because we believe this is a very powerful tool that could be used to empower the bottom of the pyramid, the people that have historically been neglected or marginalized. And when it comes specifically to Sub-Saharan Africa, we think that blockchain technology could be incredibly powerful. If you were to say that, let's develop a project to help support the female victims of Boko Haram, immediately the imagination is moved. Then you realize that when you think of Nigeria, the first words that come to mind are not transparency or accountability or actually impact achievement. Blockchain allows you to go into place in markets which are historically known for as being opaque, or where rule of law or issues of transparency have been compromised in the past, and actually operate with confidence. And we think that this is going to be something which allows billions of dollars to be unlocked for elevating the people that need it the most.
Nice.
Fascinating.
Yes.
So which brings us to why we are here. Blockchain technology, right? That's it's like pop culture now. It's cool. It's great. But what is it?
What is it?
What is it? It's really exciting because I always say, well, if there was a book, Blockchain for Dummies, what would be the quick synopsis? So what are your answers to that?
Well, I would say, in a nutshell, to bring it all together, think of blockchain technology, that's something that improves our current technology. So think about security, privacy, speed of transactions. So it really just adds another layer. I think that's an easier way to get your head around it. It improves the current technologies that we have to a point where we can take technology to the next level. So faster transactions. I mean, with blockchain technology, I can send you $10,000 within a minute or less.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So that's a simple explanation from my side. It's just that improvement of speed, security, data storage, which is, it's a massive problem for some corporations because they're working with so much data. And then privacy. I mean, look at the big Facebook fiasco and everything that we had now with privacy and information getting out and things like that. I think people are really starting to take note of privacy and their information getting out there, and blockchain technology can help solve those problems where we didn't have the technology before to really take it to the next level. Blockchain technology is doing that for us.
That's fantastic. And I feel like the universe is telling us that we're on the mark because we keep getting the ding, ding, ding. And what about you, Kevin? What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I would say that to make it really simple, it's just a database. But what blockchain technology, or the blockchain rather, is a database which allows for information, or that information is around financial transactions, identity, healthcare, you name it. There are multiple applications as vast as the horizon. But what makes it unique is that it allows for an ecosystem where it has a potential to allow for an ecosystem where no one has disproportionate power, right? And so it allows for individuals who may not necessarily trust each other, or to be able to enter into a space And this is why, in the sub-Saharan African context, for instance, land registry or payments are really exciting because these are areas where there has historically been a lot of ambiguity. And this is, for us, at Mark Labs, we are a data analytics company that focuses on social impact. And here, a lot of the organizations, the NGOs, the governments, the corporations that we work with, they want to make impact investments or support philanthropic initiatives that empower women or entrepreneurs or deal with people that have historically been left out of financial services. But there are so many hurdles which blockchain allows them to overcome.
That's fantastic.
And when you are able to jump right in and be able to know that what you are alleging to be done has been done, or that where payments are going, and you look at issues of fraud, waste, corruption, theft, these are not unique to the developing world. They're omnipresent, but where they do tend to be concentrated and juxtaposed with areas such as a lack of rule of law or a lack of transparency, it really undermines confidence. And
Yes.
blockchain, I would say that it's the confidence providing technology.
Oh, I like that. It's
Yeah.
a great way to brand it.
Yeah.
And so, which brings us to why we're here tonight. So, what does equality in blockchain mean to you? We'll start with you since we started with double last time.
So what equality in blockchain means is that typically just take $1, right? Typically wherever dollars can be made, wherever money can be made, wherever there's wealth to be generated, the people who are poorest are often the people who suffer the most.
That's right.
And so when you think about whether it's financial institutions, what have you, there has historically been a level of violence associated with it. And I think what's unique about the way that a blockchain has the potential to operate, and really we who are part of this early ecosystem are the ones who are setting the precedent for how blockchain will be for future generations. Blockchain has the real potential to be something which uplifts everyone, and the really exciting applications. Obviously, we're focusing on social impact, but you think of everything from UBI, universal basic income, to others in blockchain identity. How many people in the world actually do not have an identity, do not have a bank account, do not have, forget access to financial services, you're literally completely cut out or underbanked, what have you. Blockchain has an ability to be something which empowers these individuals if we are responsible. And I want to be clear that blockchain is not a panacea. It literally is a tool, and based on how we use this tool, will determine whether ultimately its transformational effects are indeed achieved.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's a great following with a lot of.
Hold, please. Someone's. Okay, and I'm just going to I'll lead in the question for you again, Adele, so if they can chop it up, they can start with yours, okay? So again, which leads to the question, what does equality in blockchain mean to you now, Adele?
Yeah, for me, it just means financial freedom. I mean, did you know a lot of women in Africa doesn't have their own bank accounts? So for me, it's just that financial freedom that can come to play when nobody has control over you anymore, where it will get easily accessible. But then I know internet is a problem in some African parts still, but we're getting close to a solution where everybody will be connected. And once everybody's connected, it will be so easy to go online, create a digital wallet, and be able to have that financial freedom. It's your wallet, it's your digital money, and you can, transfer it to your family and friends, and instantly across the globe. There's no, delayed transactions anymore that just has to go through the bank and massive bank fees, things like that. So it will be easily accessible. easily be manageable. And I just see, you know, women being empowered to just take control of their own finances, make better decisions and decide what they want to do with that. So that's really the side that's inspiring to me. And you know, when we talk about equality in blockchain, what does that mean? Well, for the financial side, that's what that means to me. On a technical side, I would love to see more women involved in the crypto blockchain space. I've done a bit of research, and it feels like some women feel intimidated by the technology space. They're like, oh, well, you know, it feels like we don't know as much as the guys do and all that. But I see more and more women stepping up and really being interested. I mean, there's fantastic projects in the blockchain arena from across the world that's coming forward, that's led by women. So that's really inspiring for me. So that's my two takeaways about blockchain inequality.
Inequality. That's
Absolutely.
fantastic.
I just wanted to follow up that the major point that you just made about disintermediation is really fundamental. When you think about the rents that we pay because of middlemen, right?
Yeah,
especially
fees,
in areas like in just like in sub-Saharan Africa. And go back to this example just because that's where Akoin is initially focusing. You know, quite a few. There are tens of millions of people that have access to financial services, yet do not use it because it is so punitively expensive,
Yes,
right? Because
yes.
of the intermediaries that are involved. Again, we see this universally here in the US and other places with regard to land registries and the passing of title. And what blockchain allows is for two people to essentially decide, you know, the destiny of their of you know, absolute asset ownership or transfer of wealth or title or any, whether it's intellectual property or others. And I think that that's, again, really powerful.
Yes.
But at the same time, going back to the point that we made earlier, is also very dangerous. And what I mean by dangerous is that it's something which, you know, if we don't have responsible actors that are leading to it, there's an ability for exploitation. So when you
Yes.
look at what Akoin is doing, when you look at what SAP is aspiring to do, where they're putting into the very DNA of their initial platforms this concept of the ethics of how one to transact. I champion and really encourage that mentality because
Yes.
again, these are tools, and how we use the tool is going to determine whether it's efficacious in the end.
Well, that's fantastic because that leads me to my next question. So what are your thoughts on SAP, Akoin, and the female quotient leading the way and having these important conversations about equality and empowerment?
Did you want to jump in?
Yeah, okay, so it's great. I actually attended the SAP events in New York as well, also the other Akoin event, and it was so inspiring because they're really trying to drive all the SDGs. So I think they're focusing on 5, 10, and was 11 or 12 the other one, I think. It's really inspiring because, SAP is a global brand.
Right.
It's great to see global brands, corporations stepping up, trying to lead by good example and hosting these events, bringing the education and saying, equality needs to be looked at and how all of this impacts the world, right? Because it impacts all of us. So if there's corporations need to lead the way. And then we've got like Akoin focusing on Africa, which I think is brilliant. And then what was the company, the Women Empowered?
The female quotient.
Yes.
Yes.
So very inspiring as well because, leading the way, making change around the world. So I love it. It's very inspiring. So it's great to see SAP bringing partnerships together, right? That all drive the same goals and educating people on all this. Yeah.
As the saying goes, collaboration is the new competition.
Yes,
right?
Collaborations, partnerships.
Yeah.
That's how we make a big difference, right?
That's right. And Kevin?
Yeah, I guess the way I would frame this is that when you look at economists, sociologists, legal practitioners, if you want to win, you bet on women. Right, and
you hear that?
No, it's true. It's
wow!
True. And I'm not just saying
like
that because it is reality. Like you see, women consistently outperform We see this in if you look at microfinance models, it wasn't something which was stumbled upon. It was just like all of the evidence shows that. If you want to lead to intergenerational passage of knowledge, intergenerational passage of wealth, where you take a mother, where you take a woman, that is literally the foundation, the starting point of the next generation. And for some reason, cannot be said for making the same investments in men. And I think that we do need to continue making investments in men, but we recognize that in terms of catalytic investments, women are where it's at. And so when I look at Female Quotient and the work that they're doing in terms of creating these spaces in spaces and places. I'm not trying to be Dr. Seuss. But they're creating spaces and places that have almost historically been testosterone centers, right? And they're bringing in the estrogen, they're bringing in that female power, they're bringing that female perspective, which is intrinsically sustainable, which is intrinsically future looking, and I think that part of the tragedy of the 20th century, I think, was saying that that there was absolutely no difference, and the reality is that we know that there are differences in the way that the genders look at things, and each has its own quality. And I think that the female quality that trumps the male quality, given where we are globally right now, given where we are in focusing on the SDGs, is this notion of sustainability, impact, longitudinal perspective, and really building something which is going to allow future generations to exist.
I love it.
And Female Quotient is doing that, bringing that to corporate communities which need this message now more than ever. And then when you look at what SAP is doing, and of course Akoin, again, you see the fact that they are willing to partner as being a positive thing.
Right. Fantastic.
Great.
And I love, this is so wonderful. So my last question, because they do actually have to do a panel.
Yeah, we need to get
So
to
what are your thoughts on the current landscape of cryptocurrency companies and blockchain companies? Because again, people think cryptocurrency is a very volatile space. So I would love to hear your insight on that.
At the moment, it's still very much in the infancy. We've got a lot of way to go to grow. At the moment, unfortunately, there's still a lot of, I don't want to say just scams, it's not just scams, but a lot of things happening in the crypto space that most won't approve of. So easily to get scammed, and so many fraudulent coins and things out there that it brings a bitter taste in the mouth. I think we need to just figure that part out, get beyond that, and then we can build on a positive image moving forward with crypto. Because if you say crypto to a lot of people, they're still like, oh yeah, I was scammed a month ago. I lost $500 because I invested when it was actually a scam coin. And so there's a little bit of regulation and a little bit of growth for me that needs to happen in cryptocurrency. But on the positive side, I mean, it changes so many lives. Instant transactions, fast, and if you invest in proper ICOs or proper coins and stuff, you can really build yourself a nice, sizable, income and stability. Even if it is a volatile market, you can still, if you have the education. So I would say it's very important to educate yourself in the crypto space and blockchain technology. To know what to look for. And once you have that knowledge, it gives you a lot of freedom in terms of your financial management, which I think could be a big plus point to everybody. But you need to do that research and education. And
before you answer that question, I'd love to just make sure that we kind of have a clarification and distinction between crypto and blockchain, right? And what does the landscape look like on both sides? So I would love to get your insight on that.
Yeah, so we have these two universes that are intimately connected. Right?
Yeah.
The blockchain and the crypto universe. And what's interesting is that when you have institutions like your law firms, banks, insurance companies, literally institutions that are not known for having a high degree of tolerance for risk, that are making massive investments in blockchain. Governments, quite a few Northern European governments, for instance, recently actually met with the Prime Minister of Bermuda, who is literally saying here, bring us your technology. You know, we're a small place, a small country. We're willing to pilot. You know, so you see from the very advanced governments that have trillion-dollar budgets, like the United States, that are exploring how blockchain can be used, through to island nations looking at how blockchain could be used. And so like we see that in almost every domain it's being explored. And you have a supply chain, in terms of making sure that you don't have exposure to human trafficking, making sure that you don't have exposure to products that are coming from areas that have it has been deforested, in the Amazon or in Congo. Or like you have diamonds. Someone whom I absolutely love, Leanne Kemp, is making sure that our CEO of Everledger, one of your compatriots out of Australia, she's making sure that the diamonds that we buy for our loved ones are not blood diamonds.
Are conflict free.
They're conflict free.
And you can use that through
and
blockchain.
And blockchain is helping her to achieve that, right? And so like I think that the applications of blockchain are are vast, right? And it's really up to our creativity, our imagination to do that. And that having been said, we also have kittens on the blockchain.
I saw that. That's like a thing.
Crypto kitties. Crypto kitties.
Crypto kitties is a really big.
I've got like 35 cats. I love it.
And so again, that trying to sound too redundant, but it's what we do with it. We can use a Tesla to put a walnut in the door and slam the door and crack open the walnut, or we could use a Tesla to have like the best drive of a car that I've ever had, right? So like it really does depend on how we use it. To the second part of the question, dealing with crypto, what we've seen is the Wild West, right? But that's the case for any nascent technology. And I think that when you look at what Akoin and SAP are doing, and I think that it's important that at least here that you juxtapose those two, because SAP having its brand, its reputation, its history, its process of diligence, its process of making sure that anything it assigns its name to is worthwhile and validated. The fact that they've decided to partner with Akoin is not insignificant, and I think it's important that we recognize that. And I think that this next wave of everything from ICOs to just what's developing in the crypto universe is going to be very well thought out. It's going to be much more thoroughly vetted, right? So you're not going to have a situation where you have two guys in their boxers in their mom's basement coming up with a get-rich-quick scheme. Right?
Yes.
It's going to be, so I'm bullish about crypto. I'm bullish about blockchain, and I think that it's really important that we go into these endeavors whether with intentionality, with preserving the positive aspects which could come out of it.
Yes.
And many of which you
positive
highlighted when you were speaking.
And just that research and education, that's the one tip I can give to
100%.
anybody. Just educate yourself on it, like any new technology.
Right.
I mean, remember the days back when the first iPads and things came out, tablets? We were all like, whoa, is that same
but at least
thing?
that was something, but you see what the thing is with iPads and tablets, it's tangible.
Yeah, you can hold it in your hand.
You can hold it in your hand.
Yeah.
So what we might have to do, because let's just keep it real, some people don't like to read.
There's YouTube.
That's true.
There's YouTube, which is where the storytelling, right. But even with the usage of YouTube, blockchain technology companies might have to think of having a little studio, like a content studio division to help educate people.
Well, this is where your work comes in, right? I mean, you're a storyteller.
That's right.
You bring the mundane to life through coming up with engaged media, right?
Yeah.
And I think that when it comes to education, the goal is not to provide a text, for people to read. It's for us to figure out how are people consuming information, how do people want to learn, and if we want to communicate with people, we go to that.
That's
right?
like you
Yeah.
engage the
Use those-
storyteller.
Exactly.
Because what we
Yeah.
do is
Yeah.
we do his work, like he's the analyst, right?
Yeah.
We get all that data, we see how people are thinking, moving, whatever,
Yep.
and then we create
Tell the story.
That's it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. And
That's
that's the best way people memorize things is storytelling.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yep,
So,
so-
well, thank you
Yeah,
so much.
thank
I
you.
could
This
speak
was-
to them all night, but again, we do have to let you go so
Yeah.
you could participate in the panel. Thank you again
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Thank
I mean,
you.
for being, for just, for having us, for
Yeah.
engaging with the audience, and hopefully we'll have another conversation to see where
Fantastic.
we are.
Fantastic.
Right?
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Have
All
a good
right.
night.
Signing
Bye.
off. Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks. That was
Yeah.
great. Thank
That's
you.
fantastic.
But do you see what I'm saying? Like why there is